This is why you've always got to read your tree. What do you want to do? What stage of development is it? Do I need to cut back on the fertiliser? Do I need to really push the fertiliser? Finished trees, if you like, you won't be feeding nearly as much. You want to just back it off a little bit. You don't want coarse growth. You don't want big needles. You know.
About maintenance, then, isn't it, rather than putting on fertiliser? It's a different ball game with finished trees. You do get people going, oh, I'm not buying a finished tree. You just plonk it on the bench and look at it. There's nothing to do with them. It's a completely different skill set. If you don't do the right thing to them kind of trees, they're going to be wrecked in 5 years. So this is what's so great about bonsai. It's adjusting your knowledge and what you're doing to each tree. Don't be it, I've been doing bonsai 40 years, but you've only done it 1 year, you've just repeated it 40 times. Don't be one of them. Just adjust all this knowledge that you glean in. Adjust it to every single tree. Even every branch on the tree might require slightly different tact if it's a little bit weaker in certain areas. Foliar feed it. Give it, boost that little bit, that extra 5% there. It's just going to help it build a bit more strength and get the balance. Bonsai is all about balance and energy. If it's all the same all around the tree, that's what you want. You don't want any strong areas and any weak areas. You want a general balance all around the tree. There is a bit too much going on there now, isn't there?
Do you think so?
I kind of like it, but I think it wants to be...
2 leaves now, all the way for a little while.
Refined?
Yeah.
You want the tree to harden up, then cut back.
Right.
I think it might be because the wires on it's made it look a bit more.
Right, so your little new here.
Yeah.
We had a little bit of a chat about this yesterday, and we both kind of agreed because me and Sam did a bit styling on this. Was it a year ago?
Last year.
Yeah. And at the time we agreed and we kept it as a cascade. But Sam, and I think he's totally right, has decided to drain this bottom branch and kind of pull the tree up, because if you think about, there was a lot of foliage mass down here, and if you think about the thickness of the trunk, it's not massive.
It was in a deeper pot as well before
Yeah,
we styled it, wasn't it?
So we've had a little think, and what we're going to do is we're going to drain this one as well. Okay. Right, we're going to decide once that's drained, then do we take that one off, because there might be too much clutter there. But the thing is, when you're doing this type of thing, keep it on. If you don't like it, cut it off, but at least you can cut it off, you can't stick it back on again. Right, so this is the task that he's going to do with this one. Obviously you'll have to take all of that wire off. Also, it's going to help redistribute some of the energy elsewhere. These lower branches are always the ones that get a little bit weaker anyway. But as it happens, some of the candles here are actually looking really good. But there's 1 or 2 that are a little bit weaker. But this is what happens, and it's now down to Sam when he's done his ginning to balance the growth on this by doing a little bit of possibly a little bit of snapping of some of the candles. Just 1 or 2 of the strong ones, because I think this is also a tree that I would feed, and then let it grow all season and cut it back later on in the year, because there's a lot of bare areas in here, and you can see it is starting to back bud in there. There's some buds coming in here, so it is starting to back bud. So we just need to do a little bit more of that and build it up. Because as I say, if you just candle pinch, he's just going to get buds here on this stretch here, and he needs buds there and in here, and you will get it, but it just needs to be feeding strong and then cutting back later on in the year.
So you're saying if you candle pinch, it'll only go up to the next junction, is that right?
Well, you might get some back budding further back if you're feeding well as well, but it's not always guaranteed. Right, Mugos do actually back bud a little bit better than some of the other varieties of pines. But if you really want it to fill out, you've got to feed them well and then cut them hard. Right, so you're going to do that?
Yeah.
Champion. Yeah, I mean, I actually do, I rather like it.
I didn't think I thought they'd be coming off, but it doesn't look too bad, does it?
April,
I thought we'd be taking both
it
of them
went
off.
back all the time to
Yeah, I do rather like it. It just think, as I say, there's
There's loads
just,
of sap coming out of it, like, so it's
yeah,
going to get all over your
there's
hands.
just one or two bits,
Yeah.
just,
mine are all quite young, so.
You wouldn't cut it back yet, though, because there's
And you said about shortening some of the candles.
the other bit, but then the
Till
other.
it arms off a little bit. Okay.
yeah, some of the longer ones, I think, you could, there's not very many, because I think what you want to do is you do want to do a proper scissor cut
Yeah, at the
later
end of the
on
season,
in the season. But you've got one or two really quite long ones.
You never kill that.
Yeah, there's a quite big one here, there, that one there, and it's just literally a case of just
The tip out.
take the tip out like that. Don't use scissors because you'll cut across the.
Yeah.
Just literally bend it, snap it, and that's stop the growth there. It's going to throw more growth a little bit further down.
Would doing that encourage?
Pine here. Which one? Well, I'm saying that. Which one do you want to work on most? Do you want to work on the larch or the white pine?
I think the white pine, if I can just have a little bit of advice about certain things in a minute. What it was is, obviously it's extending now. The pot got blown over, well, the whole tree got blown over in the storms last year.
Right.
So I brought a pottery pot, but I'm not sure if I've missed the window because these have extended quite a lot.
They
So.
have. I think you have missed the window, to be honest. But never mind. And as you can see, it's flowering its socks off.
Yeah.
White pines do have a tendency to flower probably more than a lot of the other pines. As far as
I was thinking more about its style as well, you know,
Right.
a bit of maintenance. Obviously, I can't repot yet, I'll do that next year. But just tidying it up a little bit.
right,
Or shall I just bring that to I might bring that to another workshop and just get it healthy and...
I think what you need to do with this, because I would just feed this, right? You see the difference between this one
Yeah.
and the one Steve's brought, right, which again has got quite a few flowers on. But if you can see, the balance of Steve's is pretty uniform over the whole tree,
Yeah.
right?
So that's this one, yeah.
And you see how it's got the cap. There's no particularly long candles. There's not really much of the tiny little weeny candles either.
Yeah.
And the style's being set. So how I would tackle that would be slightly different. Now, this one, because it's got lots of really kind of quite long candles with quite a lot of flowers on, the really strong ones, like that one there and that one there, have a look around about. There's another candle here. Again, it's got flowers on. There's another tiny little bud there. There's another little bud further back. So I would take that whole one out completely, right? And keep the other two. And up here, just having a little bit look. Always look to make sure that you've got something you could cut back to. That's fine. In an ideal world, you want always to have two.
Yeah.
Sometimes a tree will only give you one. But if that's the case, but it's still got lots of buds back here, so you can always cut that back to that. You can take that one out, right? So you're redistributing that energy a little bit around, because all of this is flowers, right? And that's the section, that's the candle at the top that's just going to have the needles on. It's too small to be doing anything with it at the minute. And I don't for 1 minute suggest that that you flick off, because some people do, they just knock off these flowers like that. If you can, and you've got all the time in the world, and I have to say at one time I did used to do it, but I've since found out that in actual fact you just do more harm than good, because specifically certain varieties, the stem that's carrying the flowers can actually be really quite thin, and by the time you've flicked all them off and the sap started to come out where you've actually damaged it, it dries out and then you've just lost your few needles at the end. So just let them flower, let the pollen come out, let them turn brown and let them drop off. And when the flowers have dropped off, the tree will put all its more energy into the needles at the end. And then come at the end of the season, when you've fed it well, and I can't emphasise enough that you must feed them well, then you can go in and you can cut back right into here where these little buds are. There's loads of energy and buds further back, but you must feed it well, right?
And pines like to be fed well because don't they get their energy in the roots?
Yeah, their engine is in the roots. A juniper's engine's in the foliage, right? Obviously, they both need their roots, of course they do. But you really, really must feed pines quite well. Some pines, maybe more than others. Japanese black pines are particularly hungry.
Right.
So if you really want to push them, feed them well.
So when you see all of these flowers and extensions, is it telling you that it's a healthy tree?
Yes, it's a very healthy tree.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of myths and rumours and things floating around out there about, a tree's on its last legs if it produces loads of flowers, or a tree's on its last legs if it's producing loads of cones and all the rest of it. And it's not true. In fact, the scientists haven't really discovered what it actually is that causes flowers on pines one year, and then other years they don't have any flowers at all. And that it's like, is it fertiliser? Is it because they've been repotted? Is it because they need repotting? I can tell you it can't be that it's been repotted, because the flowers are set. They're going to happen last year. The tree will get repotted in the spring. How does the tree know it's going to get repotted?
Yeah, true.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't know. To me, this is a very healthy tree, right? If you just look at the colour of the foliage, the flowers, it's just a tree that flowers. It might not flower very much next year. It might be what kind of ones that flower their socks off every single flip.
Flowered like this last year as well.
So, and some do. I mean, I've got a big mugo at home, a very old mugo, and for quite a number of years, it flowers quite profusely, but the last couple of years it hasn't. So, it's difficult to say. Is that them bloody? And yes, that branch at the back there, because it was doing that. Obviously, there's a little stub there. It's got a bit of wire on it. It needs that for the support, yeah. But you can look through it now, and there's a good bit depth there. So yeah.
We've been
You know what I mean? Yours has got a fairly good even distribution. It's an aphid. Have you seen the size of it?
Massive. There's a load of them at the minute. Black ones particularly. Is that still a green fly?
It is on Eve. Should put it on Steve's tree.
Yeah. Spaghettification.
Yeah, we could do the Bonsai Babes song.
Right.
I think there is somebody who calls themselves the Bonsai Babes,
Babes.
Babes.
All right, was that?
I think there is. I might be wrong.
Is that a person or a group?
No, I think it's a group. I think it's a group of lasses that... I don't know whether they're still going, but I think I do vaguely remember something in my head.
Right.
Where there was
Bonsai
a group that
Babes,
called
excellent.
themselves the Bonsai Babes.
Good on him.
It's just quite nice that you get women in bonsai a little bit more, because
Well, give us a shout out, girls, if drop us a line message if you're still there.
bonsai babes. Planted kind of up there.
Yeah,
I
love it up there.
What type of pine is this, did you say?
A lodge pool.
Lodge
Pine is
pine.
contorta.
You say you got a few up in Kielder.
Well, we don't know where it's. Well, you might know where it was collected from.
Quite further on the numbers, like in it. Right.
Do you know where it was collected from? This?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're just getting the rough and the real rough shape of it
Yeah.
put into position at the minute. So there is quite a bit of spaghettification, like. This is going to all have to be cut out when you've fed it and
Grown it
cut
on
it
and
back and
got some backwooding going.
yeah. I suppose the variety contorta kind of fits quite well, really, doesn't it? It's a little bit contorted at the minute, but
it's a long game.
it is indeed. Just get some of those back buds going and it'll be romping away. Because I do find that some of this bending, quite contorted bending, actually helps the tree back bud.
Right, because it slows down the flow of sap.
Well, it just, any kind of damage
Yeah.
kind of forces the tree to back bud a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because they want to live,
I've
they
seen
want to
that
grow.
before, somebody talking about putting a pinprick in the bark, and that's where you're going to get a good kind of new growth from. Yes, I've heard of that before.
Nothing wrong with it. Hole in it, and I drew the holes out for a bit of doweling. When I'm staying it, if you look hard,
Which background?
Not, didn't I?
guy, but it snaps, yeah.
Right. We'll sort something out there and we'll get that pulled down. Right.
Well, we're going to do it, don't use some, I want to use some thin wire rather than something that stands
right,
out.
yeah, it's probably better you do
With the
that
pin right
then.
at the front.
Because otherwise you're going to just have this really thick, noticeable piece of aluminium. And the copper's, it's got more strength, it doesn't stretch.
Some stuff. Well done, Steve. Beautiful tree.
So we've got this branch here that is going to end up being pulled down to form a foliage pad. So when you pull it down, this one, it's not going to matter if you turn it round, but just look at the best buds. Strength and location is always key. So if you pull this down, where are these ones going to end up? They're going to be on the bottom of the foliage pad.
Yeah.
So you might as well get a shot of them now, because you know they're going to be there. There's a stub where it's being cut back. So get rid of them now. That little one there. So again, when that's pulled down, it's going to have a clear bottom and we're going to get the energy to go where we want it to.
Yeah.
Right? And then any of these strong areas, I'm just going to prune one or two of these strong areas back. Just again to redistribute that energy. Some of these little candles here.
I don't mind this
Still a few flowers left on that.
What you want to know, what you
Just
take
take it out.
so they never see it over there.
I've got one, I just need to put it up.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, probably, yeah, it's general, taking that, like, canopy thing down.
Yeah.
Same as anybody. You think you'd have to do it? You're going to get money, wouldn't you?
So this one's been thinned out. I'm just going to let it grow over the summer. Do a little bit of pruning there at the late summer. So I'll bring this back to the next Caz workshop, which is in August. We'll see how we get on with that. In the autumn I will wire it and we will style it, and then next year I will repot it into a nicer pot.